Breaking news now on the deadly terror attack on the U.S. consulate in Libya. Fox News sources telling us CIA officers on the ground in Benghazi during the attack sent requests for help but were denied. National security correspondent Jennifer Griffin is live at the Pentagon with more on this. Jennifer.
Hi, John. Well, sources who were on the ground in Benghazi during the attack tell Fox News that, in fact, there were 3 separate requests to aid not only the attack that was occurring at the consulate and to try and help with that attack, but also requests for outside help, outside military to help once there were gunfires and firefights at the CIA annex. Those requests, we're told, came from higher headquarters. They were told to stand down. There were, as you know, Glenn Doherty and Tyrone Woods, the former Navy SEALs, were over at the CIA annex at about 9:40 p.m. when the first shots were heard at the consulate where the ambassador and his team were taking fire. I'm told that they radioed to their higher headquarters that they wanted permission to go and help the ambassador, to help the ambassador's teams. At that time, they were told by their higher-ups to, quote, stand down. They waited approximately an hour. They requested again to send Glenn Doherty, Tyrone Woods, and other members of that team to help out at the consulate. They were again, for a second time, told to stand down. They ignored those orders. They made their way over to the consulate against orders. They helped rescue those who had survived at the consulate. They could not find the ambassador. They made their way back to the CIA annex about 1 mile away at midnight. That is approximately, the firing had started at 9:40 p.m., so that is approximately 2 hours and 20 minutes later. They get back to the CIA annex. They begin taking fire almost immediately. 4 mortars are fired at the compound. During that time, there was no problem with communications, I'm told from sources on the ground. They were in constant radio contact with higher headquarters. They were calling for military support, air support. I've also learned from separate sources that there was at least one special operations unit, most likely Delta Force, that was waiting on standby at Sigonella Air Base, about 480 miles from Benghazi. They could have been at Benghazi in approximately 2 hours. They were part of the Commanders in Extremis Force, a SIF, they're called in the special operations community. They did not take off from Sigonella. Typically, on the ground, when special operations forces are involved in a firefight like this, they can call in air support from what are known as Spectre gunships. These are commonly used by the special operations communities, and sources in Benghazi who were involved in the attack say that no gunships were sent, no help was sent, even though the fighting at the CIA annex went on for more than 4 hours. We're also told that those at the CIA annex took into custody 3 Libyan attackers and were forced to hand them over to the Libyan February 17th forces that came to help at the annex at approximately 4 in the morning. They handed those 3 Libyans over. It's not clear from U.S. officials what happened to those Libyans and whether those Libyan attackers were, in fact, released in the end by the Libyans. But this is somewhat explosive information that 3 requests were denied from higher headquarters to not only help the ambassador and his team at the consulate, but also to send in outside military help that could have helped in this ongoing firefight that went on for 6 hours and 20 minutes. A final point, John, we have confirmed that there were 2 surveillance drones sent over Benghazi. One of them was sent into position. It was already in position over Libya at the time, over eastern Libya. It was positioned shortly after the firing began. It had to be replaced by a second drone later in the evening. So there was always one drone up above sending real-time video back to computers, computers that could be accessed at any of the agencies here in Washington. Anyone with a clearance at CIA, Pentagon, the White House Situation Room, or at the State Department could be tapping into that real-time video from the drones up above Benghazi on that night of September 11th and 12th. John?
Jennifer Griffin at the Pentagon with some explosive information there. And so Doherty and Woods, who gave their lives in this attack, tried to rescue the others, in fact, did rescue the others against orders, you're saying, and this thing could have been a lot worse had they not done so. It's just incredible, and so many questions left to answer. Thank you, Jennifer.
And John, one final point. Glenn Doherty and Tyrone Woods were killed at 4 a.m. by a mortar shell. That is 6 hours and 20 minutes after the fighting at the consulate began. My source also tells me that one of the team was on the roof with a laser pointer with eyes on the mortar attack team, the Libyan mortar, the people who were shelling. That laser could have helped guide in any Spectre gunship or any other form of military help if it had been sent from Sigonella.
Or an armed drone even. Jennifer Griffin, again, we'll get back to you later. Thank you so much.
As Jennifer just reported, the CIA requested military backup 3 times for the besieged U.S. consulate in Libya, and 3 times it was denied. U.S. Navy SEAL Tyrone Woods was one of the 4 Americans killed in the terror attack. He ignored the orders to stand down. He went to the consulate to try to save those in peril. He fought to the bitter end, all the way back at the CIA annex, trying to keep the attackers at bay. His body was found slumped over his machine gun. They believe he fired to the last moment. His father, Charlie, is not interested in political arguments, but he does want to know who in the administration made the call not to dispatch military assets that might have saved his son's life, instead leaving Tyrone Woods and the other Americans to fend for themselves. Charlie Woods joins us live now by phone. Charlie, your reaction to the breaking news.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your introduction, and I do want to reiterate this and really emphasize again, this is not about politics. This is about, if it were about politics, it would dishonor my son's death. This has to do with honor, integrity, and justice.
As you learn more about his final moments, how he requested backup twice, 3 times, and was denied 3 times, and how he ignored the orders to stand down, how he rushed to the scene to try to save the ambassador, and ultimately paid with his own life for his heroism. Your thoughts on that?
This news that he disobeyed his orders does not surprise me. My son was an American hero, and he had the moral strength to do what was right, even if that would professionally cost him his job, even if it would potentially cost him his life. He was a hero who was willing to do whatever was necessary to respond to their cries for help. If, in fact, those people in the White House were as courageous and had the moral strength that my son Ty had, immediately, within minutes of when they found there was the first attack, they would have sent, they would have given permission, not denied permission, for those C-130s to have gone up there. And this is I don't know much about weapons, but it's coming out right now that they actually had laser targets focused on the mortars that were being sent to kill my son, and they refused to pull the trigger. They refused to send those C-30s. To me, I'm an attorney. This may not meet the legal test of murder, but to me, that is not only cowardice, but those people who made the decision and who knew about the decision and lied about it are murderers of my son. That's a very strong statement for me to make, but for their benefit, they need to clear their conscience, they need to stand up, and they need to change the direction of their lives. And I want to say right now, you know who you are. I totally forgive you, but I hope years from now you change the direction of your life for your benefit.
Charlie, do you feel like you are getting straight answers from the administration on this?
This is all a pack of lies. And that's one thing, as a father whose son was killed, I do not appreciate lies. I do not appreciate cowardice, and I do not appreciate lies. And I'm a loving person. I love my son, and I want to honor him. And I hope I'm not speaking too strongly, but I am very glad the facts are coming out right now. The reason I'm even speaking up, our family had made the decision not to say anything. But after the facts came out, that in real time, the White House, from minutes after the first bullet was fired, they watched my son. They denied his pleas for help. My son violated his orders in order to protect the lives of at least 30 people. He risked his life to be a hero. I wish that the leadership in the White House had that same level of moral courage and heroism that my son displayed with his life.
As we look at the beautiful pictures you gave us of Ty when he was younger, when he was in high school, the picture of the two of you together, we remember his legacy. He is an American hero. Charlie, I'll give you the last word.
Well, I appreciate that, and I sent you those pictures of Ty in high school, and I wanted you to show those to the people out there for one reason, and that is so that people could be inspired and to know that Ty was just a normal kid. Okay, we were an imperfect family, but we were a normal family. And I would hope that his legacy would live on and that we would raise up a generation of American heroes, and that they would be inspired by his pictures and by his life, and that we would raise up a generation of American heroes that are strong morally and strong in every other aspect of their life. We do not need another generation of liars who lack the moral strength that my son, who is an American hero, had. Thank you.
Charlie Woods, all the best to you and your family.
And I really appreciate what's happening, and I really wish the best for those people that allowed my son to be murdered. And I mean that very sincerely. I want the best for them, but they need to stand up and they need to change the direction of their lives. Thank you.
Thank you. All the best, sir. I know I speak for a lot of our viewers when I say your son will be missed, and we honor his memory today.
Thank you for honoring him.
Tyrone Woods.
American hero. Thank you.
We are going to have much more on this story. We're taking your thoughts on it right now. You can send them to me on Twitter at Megyn Kelly. I do read them. And still ahead, we will be joined by the former White House Chief of Staff under President George W. Bush, Andy Card, as well as General Tom McInerney, who said yesterday that more could have been done. Much more. Keep it right here on America Live.